My first question would be to Ding Liren today. Are you satisfied with how the English opening went for you in this game? And if you are also aware of the fact that Ian Nepomniachtchi played this very opening himself at the title Tuesday?
I guess bishop a5 is the main line. Yeah, I know a game he played against Aronian some years ago, and he wins with very accurate, very powerful play. But bishop c5 came as a totally surprise to me. I have to figure out the idea after during the game. Actually, I had some advantages. At one point, I'm wondering if I could retreat the bishop instead of taking on d6, but I didn't know if it's possible to go back to bishop, but maybe it's not possible, maybe it's just a very bad move, so I played the nature move, and I guess he defends quite well, so I didn't have so many chances in that game.
You played this, as I mentioned, you played this very position at the title Tuesday some years ago. Were you happy to see today that this happened in this match, this position?
Yeah, well, it's the whole line is quite interesting for white. I'd say in case of bishop b4 instead of bishop c5, it's quite an equal position, but it's nice. Yes, white can play on. Yeah, has different plans, and bishop c5 is known to be more forced. And this bishop b4, this b takes c3, bishop c5 move. Yeah, I played myself against. I can't recall what was the player, but I think some international master.
Carlos Jose Gabriel.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and I got lost with white after 3 moves already or something. Yes, so I thought it's quite a nice line, and I think it was already for quite some time. I mean, this idea of bishop c5, because I mean objectively it looks a little bit scary, but I wouldn't say. Probably if you go for some forcing lines, yeah, you take some extra risk. But as far as I know, there is not so much white can do here. Perhaps instead of many different editions of this endgame, capturing winning the pawn, but the structure is so poor. I wasn't quite sure about if I should have played h3 because h3 is double-edged. So probably I don't know, something like rook c8 would be more smart, or maybe I don't know, even rook d8 and then rook d6. Just give away h4 pawn, but get an active rook instead. But somehow I thought that h3 should be all right. Yeah, and then I think it's basically a fortress. Yeah, so I'm not sure if white can achieve something. So the only idea is to play rook d5 or something. Yeah, if my king is on e7 or trade light square bishops. But I think it's very nice regrouping with my king on g7. Feels like black is in time. Yes, or white has so many weaknesses, and h3 is not so easy to capture. So. Yeah, overall, I think was a decent game from me.
Can we assume that this decision that you played g5 and you sort of forced the actions to go to the end game is based off the current situation on the score of the match as you are leading, or would you play something more like h3 if you were in a must-win situation? Well,
for now I'm not in a must-win situation. Yeah, first of all. And then I think I was just trying to follow my analysis. I'm not sure if I managed to, but I think I have seen this. I mean, I had something similar, I think, in my files. This f4 move, and yeah. So I think, I mean, of course, black can play on with h3 or some moves instead of g5, but I guess it becomes pretty much double-edged and. Yeah, normally once black manages to reach this endgame, should be fine.
Right, thank you. My last question to Ding, and then I will give the floor to press. You mentioned that bishop c5 was a bit of surprise, and there was 2 moments when you spent most of the time on the clock. There was when you played queen to g3, another was bishop e2. Can you please tell us what were the possibilities that you were considering in that position?
Well, after bishop c5, yes, I only consider bishop queen g3 or any other move like bishop d3, but it's not didn't have a idea behind it. And queen g3, but his move king f8 again surprised me. I was expecting g6, so I have to think again. to see what will be his answer after bishop e2, d6, bishop f4. I expect the h5 idea. If I go h4, then he can play bishop at g4 at some point later, and then rook e8. He's very quick develop. So at that point, I decided to castle to let him to play h4.
A question for each one. For Liren, after the previous game, you said that your level of self-confidence regarding the winner of this match was about 5, counting from 1 to 10. My question is if this game has changed something on that sense. And for Ian, Mr. Filatov, president of the Russian Chess Federation, said a few days ago that you looked as a monkey with a hand grenade. As this comment sounds really very striking, I guess, for everybody, I wonder if you have some comment on that.
Thank you very much for the questions.
Yeah, it's today I drew another white game, so it means there are only 4 games left. I need to at least score 1 wins to level the score. Yeah, it's become quite normal. Like there are 3 draws in the 3 rounds. But okay, the tournament is still not finished yet. So okay, we still have 4 games left. I wouldn't say how much confidence am I now. I didn't consider that. Yeah, that's my answer.
Thank you for a good question as usual. But I guess I don't really want to elaborate on this. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
My client asked 3 days ago Ding about the trainings games on Lichess and chess.com. How did this information influence your match strategy?
Thank you for the question. I wouldn't say it influenced it like too much. Yeah, my team like took a look, but I wouldn't say like it should be as hyped as it actually is. Yeah. So I guess yeah, I'm still like more or less doing what I supposed to do, what I thought I was going to do. Yeah. So that's didn't change it too much, I think.
Hi, it's a question for Ding. When you took on d6, you went for the endgame. Like, how seriously did you look at like retreating the bishop to e3, and what were you thinking there?
Yeah, I'm thinking bishop e3 a little bit, but suddenly I saw after take on d6 I can play f4 afterwards, so I decided just to simplify the position. I believe I have some chances in the endgame, but maybe not too much.
Okay, thank you.
For Ding, how do you spend your rest days, and maybe your schedule just changed since the beginning of the match?
Rest day, I go for some walk and spend more time to rest, to sleep. Also chat with my friends, and yeah, something like this.
You are both a great inspiration for young people around the world that love chess. Could you talk about what your fascination about the game was when you were young?
Thank you for the question. I guess then I was like, then I just like learned to play and learned, let's say, to read. So also I could read some chess books. I was really fond of replaying some games from these books and are seeking for some sort of harmony, like in between the pieces. Yeah, so that was like sort of a favorite part until some certain age.
Thank you. And Ding, what about you?
Yeah, I followed many live games, so I spent some time studying them. So yeah, solve some tactic puzzles.
You are playing the Grand Chess Tour in Romania just 5 days after the match. Are you not wanting to take a break after the grueling match at all?
I guess I surely will think about this question, but right after the match, yeah.
Yeah, it's not something to consider right now.
Has being involved in such an intense one-on-one match affected your opinion of your opponent in any way?
Frankly, I don't know.
Yeah, it was played between both of us, so it could be influenced by both of us.
Aside from the World Championship, what are some of your longer-term goals in your career?
I guess ask me in a week or something.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind. What about you, Ding? Long-term goals?
Long-term goals? No.
No?